Welcome to a very, very, very special edition of the Christy Taylor Show. And I want you to know this has been a labor of love doing this on today. We're supposed to have a 3:30 start, and there's been just some micro issues. But I tell you, me and Drew McCraven, we are determined to have this interview on today. Now, my very special guest for this very, very, very special edition is Drew McCraven, the founder and executive director of Positive Reaction, a nonprofit organization here in Memphis, and he's a conscious playwright. One of his plays is entitled Think Before You Shoot. He's considered a legendary producer, promoter, and public speaker. And let me tell you that Mr. McCraven is someone we all treasure here. Now, let me tell you, he's also known as the co-host for the prestigious annual Stone Award, along with my dear friend, legendary Tina Tilton. And Drew McCraven is also currently a co-owner of All Occasions Banquet Hall. So he touches a lot of things, and I'm super excited that he's here to talk about a very important event that's going to be happening here in Memphis over this MLK weekend. Welcome to the Christy Taylor Show, a special edition, Mr. McCraven.
Hey, Christy, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm really excited to meet you. I've heard of, we're Facebook friends, but this is a delight that we're going to have an opportunity to have a really good conversation. And if you would, can you kind of give me a backstory on who you are? Are you originally from Memphis? And then we're going to go into this amazing organization you're a part of.
Yes, I am. First of all, let me say thank you for allowing me to be a guest on your show today. I really appreciate that. I'm actually, yes, from Memphis, Tennessee. I'm from South Memphis, Tennessee, from around Trigg and Lauderdale area. And the amazing thing about that is that the way that I was raised up, grounded by the elders, I think that would probably be the reason why I'm where I am right now today. My background has a very, very strong tie to the entertainment industry. I went to school for electronic recording engineering, and immediately after I got out of school, I immediately went out on the road with the band, and everything just started fumbling and turning at that point. And of course, I got into promoting concerts. I was a venue back in 1995. It was called Ebony and Ivory. And it's an entertainment complex downtown.
I remember that.
Yeah, and we were one of the first big venues that actually did live concerts, and we brought in some of the hottest artists, and that was kind of what kind of started this whole movement in Memphis. I was actually living in Arizona at the time, in Scottsdale, Arizona. I was coming back for 4th of July weekend. My guy Thomas invited me down to look at the venue, and the rest is history. And from then, we went from Ebony and Ivory to Fire and Ice. You guys probably remember Fire and Ice and the Shell Entertainment.
Yes.
The Shell Entertainment Complex. Yeah, those are all venues that I basically created the overall concept, did all the marketing and promotions for it, and booked and managed the venue as well. And that's what, matter of fact, talking about Positive Reaction, that's where Positive Reaction came from. It came from, I closed up one night and I was sitting there talking to a couple of the guys, and we were talking. I was like, man, it's like a positive reaction. And I immediately stopped and I went to the bar. I got a napkin and a pen, and I wrote Positive Reaction down on the napkin. And Christy, let me tell you what was so amazing is I wrote it down the next morning. You know how you clear your pockets out? Yeah. And I pulled that napkin out and I saw that I had written Positive Reaction on it, and I laid it on the dresser. And believe it or not, I saw fruition into everything that's happening right now with the nonprofit organization. And mind you, as you mentioned, I'm a playwright as well. That is not something that I was really actually trying to do. I was doing something for a client, and it went from a small skit, and it's like God said, no, this is bigger than that. And God gave me this great vision for that play that we have, Think Before You Shoot, which is a very powerful play. So, along with that, and other different projects that we have going on in the community. Mastering your craft. We've done several different things in Shelby County schools
Okay.
with the students. And primarily, when we talk about positive reaction, our core components are family empowerment, strengthening programs, youth development, and community awareness. And we're now on the other side of COVID, hopefully. So
Yeah.
hopefully we'll be able to get back in to the full flow of introducing these different programs to the youth in our community.
So, how long have Positive Reaction been in existence?
Now we've actually been 501(c)(3) now for about 3 years, but
Wow.
it has been in existence for about 5 years. Five
Okay.
years ago is when I actually it was about maybe 8 or 9 years ago when I came up with the concept, and
Hmm.
even in that moment, I didn't know what direction I wanted to go in. I just knew that God had given me positive reaction, so I put it on a business card. I put it on
Hmm.
the corner of a business card of my consulting firm. Nobody
Hmm.
knew what was on it, but I did. So it's kind of like, they say you speak it into existence. I
Yes.
kind of like put it into existence. Whereas
Yes.
I would see positive reaction on the card. Nobody else would even know that it was on the card unless I showed them. And then, of course, finally I sat down and I started writing out just exactly the core components and just started writing out the program and outlining everything that we wanted to do in the community. And ironically, Christy, I sent it to a young lady, Karen Higginbottom, to
Hmm.
edit for me. And I sent it to her, and she said to me, Drew, she said, well, you wrote this? I said, yeah. She said, Drew, you wrote this? I said, yes. She said, Drew, it's nothing wrong with nothing on there. Only thing that I
Wow.
did was added a heading to it. So, and the point that I'm making is that God had already had this vision laid out for me. And
Right.
over the course of the years, he continually gave me the substance that I needed to attach to the two words positive reaction. And mind you, even to a point to whereas, do you know that I ended up doing everything myself? I researched everything that I needed to do in order for us to become a nonprofit organization, and I did all of the paperwork myself. And now that is actually part of my mission as well, is to help other people create and build up their nonprofit organizations. I've done four to this day. The last one I just did was Future Leaders. Future Leaders of Memphis is the last nonprofit that I just helped set up.
Wow. You know something? I know that I'm noting that, you're always coming from a point of improving the community. Where does that come from, Drew? What inspires that?
The value in that is, when I was coming up, when I was 17 years old, believe it or not, when I was 17 years old, I was looking for a job in the newspaper, and I ran across Junior Achievement. And ironically, I went to Junior Achievement, and I didn't know that they wasn't going to pay me anything. I didn't even know exactly what it was. I just liked the name Junior Achievement, and
Yeah.
of course, I ended up going through the process of being certified, teaching a class called Project Business. At 17 years old, I was in the Memphis City schools. I was at Havenview Junior High School and Riverview Junior High School twice a week.
Wow.
And that kind of, it's crazy because I I didn't look to be right there, but sometimes you really don't know that there's another side of you that's
Yeah.
moving on your behalf. And that's what God has already laid out before you. And
Hmm.
that's the reason why I'm even part of the Stone Awards. Because I do African April Festival, and somebody told me about the Stone Awards, and I ended up meeting Stanley Campbell. And it's just something when you look at the things that you do. I just have a passion for bringing about change in our community. I think that we all are responsible for taking back our community, building up our community, and being able to provide a safe environment for our youth in the community. That's what I believe. And I'm just on that mission to make a difference in the community, especially when you look at what's happening right now in our communities.
Right. When you brought up African April, I'm seeing a lot of parallels in your life. Dr. AC, of course. Hey, Sandra, how are you doing? Sandra Hill Wilson. And for those who are watching, feel free to make comments and ask questions as well. Now, I know that African April has been an extremely important festival and cultural event in our city for, what is it, almost 30 years?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This year, I think this year is the 34th or 35th. I've worked with African April for like 20 plus years.
And the reason I'm bringing that up is, and for those who, I mean, be sure to check out African April. And of course, it's April in Memphis. So we're
Yes.
looking forward to African April. But why? There's a lot of ways that you can participate and provide leadership in the community. Of course, as you say, from the ebony and ivory and the all those, lounge and club. So you have promoting in your blood, but why are cultural events equally as important to you? Because you could still be, giving us fire and ice.
Hey, let me tell you, I think, and it's something. Last night, I was out last night, right? And I had a young lady told me last night, I hadn't seen you in a long time. And I said, well, I don't really do clubs anymore. I don't hang out. I don't, you know, I most of my life has been involved with entertainment venues and clubs. And now, I'm just at a different point. And speaking of these different cultural awareness events as the Stone Awards in Africa in April, I'm I think is I was driven by way of just the God's will.
Yeah.
I honest and truthfully, I am in the position that I'm in right now simply because this is what God had already laid out before me. And I don't want to get into a long thing with scripture and everything, but I'm always reminded of Jeremiah when he told him that, look, he gave him the task at hand on what he wanted him to do, and he had a little fear in him at first, and then
Right.
he let it be understood that hold on now. I'm the only one that can even chastise you in any kind of way. So whatever it is, don't even worry about it. Because before that was formed in the womb that I had already ordained, he already
Mhm.
knew the purpose of his life. And I and
Mhm.
I believe that that's where I am right now. I think that's the reason why he set me up in promoting venues and doing public relations. I did public relations for 36 Mafia for about 4 years, back after I came
Wow.
back from Memphis. And it's crazy though, because I was tapped into all of these major sources. I was dealing with all of the major booking agencies, from Will Morris to Associate Booking, um, and the thing about that is, from then to now, when I look at Africa in April, when I look at the Stone Awards, when I look at the rise of the 300 moral leaders, no, God prepared me to get to this point,
Yes.
whereas
Yes.
I would be able to not only be a part of something that was going to be a benefit to the community, but it would make me better as well.
Yeah.
I mean, because that's what it's all about. It's all about building up. It's
Mhm.
all about building up. And that's what we have to focus on. If we want to see change, how are we going to see change if we don't start building up, if we don't start creating different avenues and ways and means that's going to be conducive to change?
I really like the fact that you referenced Jeremiah, the prophet. And one of my favorite verses, one of my favorite scriptures is Jeremiah 29:11, which for those, how God already has a plan, and it's a good plan. And it's not to harm us, but to bring us to a good end. And that's paraphrasing. For those who want to go check it out, Jeremiah 29, verse 11, and read it
Mhm.
in context. But it's like you said, there can be fear, trepidation. We can have our insecurities, our uncertainties, and that was one of the verses that really encouraged him. Like, God, like, I got you,
Right.
and
That's
and to
exactly
and to know
that.
that God had you in those environments and clubs and lounges, learning a skill, a professional skill,
Right.
learning
Right.
how to, have right relationships, marketing, public relation, all the things that you need to promote and market anything, and then to be
Exactly.
able to turn that knowledge into supporting cultural awareness, as you say, as the Stone Awards and
Right.
the African April. And I want to get to the new one, which is the reason we're chatting today on this beautiful Friday. It's
Yes.
about the event that's happening this weekend. But before we get to that, I want to kind of go, which is, of course, talking about your promotion skills and an amazing skill set, is the organization behind the event. Can you get, because you're educating me today, Drew. You're educating me
Right.
today.
Let me tell you, some years ago, Stanley Campbell, Cam McKenzie, aka Runaway Man. He and his family, mind the nine mustard seed. Their
Mm,
mother Thelma, she raised these. If you ever wanted me to say, do you know a family that the mother raised the family and she instilled everything in every kid that lived in that house? That
mm,
would be Ma and the nine mustard seed. That would be Stanley and his brothers and his sisters. And the mom was the foundation of her history of know-how and the ability to instill in them just a mere matter of you have a purpose attached to you. And I remember Stanley telling me a story not long ago, and I'm not going to go into it, but it was crazy the way that he told me that story on what happened because they were standing up for the community at a young age,
wow.
and people were literally retaliating against them, and I was like, wow, that is really something. A lot of times we don't know that it was already in me. And so
Mm,
Stanley, of course, he does several different things. One of the things he do every year is the annual Stone Awards. The Stone Awards has, of course, honored legendary people such as the Barkays, Art Gilliam, the late DeArmie Bailey, Dr. AC, Mrs. AC, and Stanley. Of course, he is basically the one behind the scene. That basically this guy has a mindset when it comes to producing, directing, and his creativity knowledge that he have is absolutely amazing because that's what he does every year. This particular event that we're going to be doing this weekend is the rise of the moral 300 leaders, the
mm,
300 moral leaders. And the Stone Awards, 20 plus years, has honored so many people. And you know something, Christy, just as you said, you didn't know anything about it. You know what's crazy about that? A lot of people in the city don't really know about it as well. But let me tell you, when it comes to someone that's committed to making sure that the seed is planted and the foundation is solid, and then it grows, because not only that, but each and every year the foundation, what it does is it feeds the homeless during the Thanksgiving holidays, during the Christmas holidays,
mhm.
during the Martin Luther King. They have presented several large marches in representing and supporting the homeless. I remember a guy knocked on the door down at the museum, and he also operates a museum down in Midtown, the House of Mackenzie. and
Yes.
and you would never believe what he has in there when you talk about all the different history, things that are attached to history. Matter of fact, there's a Ku Klux Klan hood in his museum. I'll make sure I give you that address because I know people will want to go check it out. But it's
Yes.
just an amazing organization that they've created, and for him to decide that I want to take it to another level, because we do the Stone Awards, then we do the Tenzi Awards, and now we are doing the 100 Moral Leaders and the Tri-Stone Builders of America. Last year we inducted 100 members, and so now we're in the process. We're going to induct 25 members. As a matter of fact, I was one of the inductees on last year when
Wow.
we did it, and we did it in the midst of a pandemic. It was
Wow.
outside. We were all masked up, and let me tell you, it was absolutely amazing. It really was. It was amazing. I, I'm always excited when I host events that's dealing with sociological issues. And
Mm,
believe what I tell you, Stanley does not hold back when it comes to dealing with substance, purpose, challenge. There's going to be a presentation that's going to happen this Sunday that he's going to do, and it's going to basically deal with what's happening over in the Ukraine.
wow. I'm putting on the screen right now um, the information about this Sunday, inducting 25 new. Um, and I want to make sure I understand the moral leaders. Give me an
Right.
understanding of that.
Okay. The moral leaders, when you look at in 2021, the official 100 tried moral leaders were, of course, they were all inducted into, when you talk about when you talk about purpose that's attached to your life, these are people from our communities, right? People from our communities that must be held accountable when it comes to having a strong vision for our city. A true leader, of course, engaged in building a safer, healthier, and economically environment on a stronger foundation. That's what these people were chosen for. Most of them are all in business. They're all people from the community. I was on a radio station the other day, and what came in my mind was there are no politicians that are attached to this. And not to
Wow.
say politicians are something bad, but I think that when you talk about moral and you talk about leaders, I
Mm-hmm.
just believe that I believe that a moral leader sets an example by way of action,
Mm-hmm.
what they do, and in the process of being able to look at who and where are these people going to come from. I mean, Stanley went through a vast of different ways of finding these people, and of course now we're in a position of inducting another 25. So it's just that responsibility that you hold as a leader in the community. And some of us, we stand out, like such as yourself. Such as
Thank you.
yourself, you should be on this list, honestly. And I'm not saying that because Stanley is standing here, but I'm saying that because I look at the content that you promote, not only at the radio station, but even in the midst of what you're doing. And not only that, but my co-host of the Stone Awards is one of your great business partners, Tina,
Yes,
the
Tina Tilton.
legendary Tina
Yes.
Tilton. So,
Mhm.
I mean, we have to be responsible. We have to be held accountable for how do we bring about change in our community. So I think that in having this title or this label attached to your name, that you are one of the 100, or should I say 125 moral leaders. And then, of course, as we know, there are going to be an additional 175 that's going to be added in the next few years to come. So
Mhm.
we're looking at something real serious, particularly when it comes to the community, building up the community, putting certain people in a position, not a position of authority, but a position of action.
I'm really glad to hear that, Drew, because I looked through the names of that 100 and I'm like, there are people from every industry. Of course, I knew those in the music industry, I knew those who were in media, and there are people who, by society standards, are like, oh, those are just everyday people who are business owners and things of that
Right.
nature. But the moral leadership part is so important. And I'm really glad that you all are highlighting that, which is the reason that this exists. Now, I know that you provided me a video, and I just want to play it very quickly
Okay.
before we get to our wrap up, because we definitely want them to know how they can participate with this event.
It's all right to talk about streets flowing with milk and honey, but God has commanded us to be concerned about the slums down here and his children who can't eat 3 square meals a day. It's all right to talk about the New Jerusalem, but one day God's preacher must talk about the new New York, the new Atlanta, the new Philadelphia, the new Los Angeles, the new Memphis, Tennessee.
That's
That
all
was
right. I
nice.
like that. I like that.
That was nice. Yeah.
Yes, I love
Shout
that.
out
And the message that
Devin
Dr. Martin
McCraven,
Luther
his son,
King,
created that Rise 300 movement logo.
I hear
That's
Stanley
cool.
speaking there.
Yeah. Stanley, he's in the background. He's actually he has me live on Facebook, and this is something we used to do. And let me just briefly say this. This brother Christy, one thing that he does is he never likes to be up front. He never likes to do interviews on TV. He don't like to go to the radio station. And even though I said, bro, come on, man, come on, man, come on. And but you know something, he is one of the most humblest brothers that I've met. And
Yes.
he is not selfish. his main objective is people. Is people, as you were talking about the different people that's going to be the next 25 inductees, and the different artists. I mean, you're looking at people. Timothy Horton. Timothy Horton is the drummer for the iconic "Cool in the Game."
Mm.
Um, and I mean, when you just stop and you look at just different people that are part of it. As a matter of fact, I saw a guy named on here, Eric Brooks. Eric
Mhm.
Brooks he plays the role of Mr. Fishbone in my play Think Before You Shoot.
Mm.
And let me tell you, this guy is a great actor. He's also, come in and sponsor some of the events that the Stone Awards host as well. So, I mean, when you just look at the list of different people that he focuses on, and not all of them are from Memphis. I mean, you have Rochelle Malone, she's out of California.
Mhm.
You have Michael Campbell out of Atlanta, Georgia. And that's the thing is that he is thorough in the process of looking at who he chooses. And let me tell you something. This brother Stanley Campbell, I know we won't be able to get him to run for office, but those are the type of people we need in our community that
Yes.
don't change. People that don't change, people that stay focused on what they need to focus on, and
Mhm.
they are committed to it. And that's one of the things that I'm thankful for, because when he initially asked me to be a part of the Stone Awards, I immediately said yes. And from then to now, I am committed to being a part of raising up, not only raising up our city, but being a part of creating a better foundation. And that's what we want to happen as well, when it comes to the 100 tried moral leaders that's
Yeah.
already been inducted, and the 25 that's upcoming, and the ones that we know that's going to be in the future that you're going to be in
Yes.
as well. I'm already
Oh,
speaking that into existence.
well, blessings, blessings. I'm really, really excited about the work that Stanley is doing, and to have somebody of your caliber assisting him just elevates this to new levels. And as you say, you've been with them a long time, and to be able to have that kind of partnership continue, that speaks highly of both of you all. It's particularly in the entertainment industry, So I'm really, really excited. Now I know that we are talking that this is the second um,
Yes.
anniversary. And I saw that the this year's quote, and I have it on the screen here. Let's rise up on the mountaintop, and that
Yes.
comes from Dr. Martin Luther King's last speech right here in Memphis,
Yes.
Tennessee. Why was that important to tie in to this weekend? Of course, this weekend is very important, and you can speak to the importance of this weekend and why all of these things are coinciding with each other.
Actually, that I'm glad you asked that. When we look back at our history here in Memphis, um, it's something. When I was born, right, I was born into segregation. I was born into the timing of the struggles, and when Martin Luther King, when he came to Memphis, and when he came to Memphis, of course, to lead the protest on a march to City Hall for the sanitation workers. And do you know, just this past week this is the anniversary year. I think it was March the 26th,
28.
the 28th. March the 28th was actually the date that they originally organized the march.
Yeah.
And so we look
This
at that
is last
history.
March.
If we don't stand for something, then we're going to keep falling for anything.
Mm.
And so we have to be in a position, when we look back at our ancestors, when we look back at these people that made a difference, these people that created legacies that we are all attached to, being African Americans. We have to look at, they were not scared. The same way when you look at our communities now, we have these young brothers that run rapid all in our community, and at some point it seemed like we don't really care. I think then when I was coming up, the elders were there. The elders don't exist no more. So we have to stand in position of the elders. We have to stand in position of the people such as Martin Luther King and the Ida B. Wells, that these people that stood up for our rights and that represented our history as African Americans. And because at some point, we all going to be held accountable, or we're going to be sitting back saying, what I shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Woo! I tell you, Drew, I've had this conversation recently about the changing of the guards, and you know what I'm speaking of when, as the elders pass on. And I had a very sobering conversation a couple of months ago, and they were like, we're now those elders. And
Yes.
sometimes age creeps up on you, and you don't realize that you have moved in or you're standing near looking at the spot.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
now, because of what you and Stanley are doing, people who are out here doing what they're doing, providing for their families, doing good in the community, creating businesses, employing people, you all are pausing to say to them, you are now the elders.
Yes.
You are
And
now in the position to rise to be the moral leader in this community and in this region and in this nation. So I'm really, really grateful, because sometimes this is me just kind of on a rant. We don't celebrate each other when we do good, um,
exactly.
to the degree where a person can feel it. A lot of times, the good that we're talking about is, oh, you did good in buying that car, that house, getting a promotion, but you all are talking about the integrity of somebody's heart, and that's
Mm.
the type of good I'm talking about that we don't often celebrate. Is somebody's good integrity, their good behavior, their good mindset. So thank you all so very much for this. I do
Hey.
want to make sure, though, somebody's listening. They say, okay, I've been listening for a minute. Now, when can I hang out with y'all this weekend and
Okay.
be a part of this?
Okay, check this out. On Saturday, it's going to be a 2-day weekend. Okay, on Saturday, of course, we're going to be at the House of Mackenzie at 1289 Madison Avenue. That's where we're going to host the mixer, the rise of the 300 moral leader. Leaders. That's going to be where the mixer is going to be on Saturday night. That address is 1289 Madison Avenue. And of course, if they need to make a phone call to reach out just to get directions or more additional information, they can call 901 273 5038. And then on Sunday, we're going to be at All Occasions Banquet Hall. And of course, that's located at 6090 Macon Cove, right off of I-40 on Sycamore View in Macon Cove. We're going to be hosting the 100 moral leaders, or should I say the 300 moral leaders, Tridestone Builders of America. We're going to do the first 20, the second 25, the inductees for the 20 additional 25 moral leaders that we're going to be adding to it, unveiling the RO 300 Three Laws Moral Leader Decree Resolution. And of course, we're
Wow.
going to have a special guest speaker. Our special guest speaker is actually going to be a husband and wife. It's going to be they're from Kentucky. And
Okay.
let me tell you, Michael Lockhart, Pastor Michael Lockhart, and the First Lady, Elder Penny Lockhart, they have
Mhm.
been underwriters and sponsors of the Stone Awards for years. And it's something now, Christy, because they're from Kentucky, right?
I was like,
They're
yeah, cross,
they
yes.
are one of our greatest underwriters.
Wow.
And the thing about it, and I want to get to this point. Nothing they do is they don't. Nobody gives them anything. They have to buy it. The way they
Hmm.
feed the homeless, the way they operate and create these different events,
Hmm.
there's cost. And to have someone from Kentucky, not
Yeah.
Memphis,
Wow.
that has committed to underwriting and helping out the Stone Awards for years and being a part of it. Pastor Lockhart and the First Lady, Penny Lockhart, let me tell you, they are part of the African International Outreach Ministries out of Kentucky. And we are so thankful and grateful that they have been part of such a great event. And of course, they are going to be the keynote speakers this weekend at All Occasions Banquet Hall, where I'll be the host.
Well, look at you. So you're going to be doing both Saturday and Sunday.
Yes, I have on Saturday. There's no way possible that I'll be able to miss it. Now I have something going on here at All Occasions where we are right now. And matter of fact, they're setting up. I wish we had video, and they could see Amber. Amber, she's setting up right now for
Yes.
for her. I call it her VIP birthday party. Uh,
Oh, okay.
that's
Okay.
yeah, because that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. I'm going to send you a picture. I'm going to take a picture of the room and
Yes.
and let you see what she's in here doing. That's what she's doing right now. But yes, we are definitely going to have a great weekend. And of course,
Mhm.
we're asking that people would actually come out and support both on Saturday and Sunday, particularly
Mhm.
on Sunday. I think when you look at the idea and the concept that's been created around the 300 moral leaders, I
Mhm.
think that when you look at that, you look at the value that it holds, you look at the substance that it holds, and you say to yourself, I really do need to be a part of this here. So I'm asking for the listeners to come out and support. There's a $15 donation. That's not an admission, that's a donation, okay, to the House of Mackenzie Museum. And we're looking for you guys to come on out at All Occasions Banquet Hall this year for the second inaugural anniversary of
Mhm.
the rise of the 300 moral leaders inductees.
I love it. Thank you so much. And give them the contact information again of the location of of both venues and a contact number.
Okay, the mixer is going to be at the House of Mackenzie that's located at 1289 Madison Avenue. And that's, of course, right at Madison
Claybrook.
and
Claybrook.
Claybrook. And the contact number would be 901 273 5038. And on Sunday, the event that's going to be hosted at All Occasions Banquet Hall, and that's right off I-40 on Sycamore View in Macon Cove. The address there is 6090 Macon Cove. That's going to start at 4:30 p.m. And of course, as I mentioned, there's a $15 donation.
Thank you so much. This has been such a joy. As I said, we have known of you. We are Facebook friends, but to really have a conversation with you, Drew McCraven III, it has been a delight.
I thank you so much, Christy. Maybe we'll do it again. We'll talk about
Yes.
some of the programs that we're doing with positive reaction because we definitely want to get the community more involved in what we're doing in the upcoming things that we're making preparation for. So maybe we'll get an opportunity to talk about that on
Yes, you
the next
have an
time.
open door. You have an open door. So consider this a permanent invitation. All right. Anytime you don't have
Thank you.
anything going on, yes, it's a permanent invitation. When you have the amazing things that you have going on in the community, please be sure to reach out to the Christy Taylor Show.
I thank you so much, Christy, and I really appreciate you. And I know Stanley as well.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Miss Christie.
Oh, thank you, and thank
Hope
you
to
for
see you
being.
Sunday.
Yes, sir. You definitely will. And the legendary Tina Tilton, will she be co-hosting this year?
Well, no, we would hope. I asked Stanley about Tina. She asked about Tina. I asked Stanley about Tina. You know, Tina wears like 1,000 hats. You know that
Yes,
because you
she
wear a
does.
thousand hats
Yes.
as
Right.
well.
As a matter of
And
fact, we are already inside the River City Jazz Music Fest weekend. She went to a mixer last night.
oh
They have
yeah,
another one that I'm going to be
tonight,
tonight that I got to make sure I show up at the Marriott
yeah,
East, and
that's
then of
over at the
course
Marriott. Exactly.
Saturday is the concert at the Cannon Center. So then to end it off with a kickoff to this historic weekend, it would be apropos to make sure that we're also, as I said, all roads leading over to the other to you all's event. So thank you for the invitation, Stanley. Thank you.
She said, "Thank you, Stanley, for the invitation, and we will be definitely looking for you guys. We will be
Thank
looking
you,
for you
Christy.
guys this weekend for sure. And I am so grateful to have the opportunity to be on your show today.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. We have been talking to Drew McCraven III, founder and executive director of Positive Reaction. He's also a playwright and wears so many hats, just like Tina Tilton. And of course, he's been talking about this amazing event that they're having that is going to be taking place this Sunday, April the 3rd. Once again, give them the time and the location for Sunday.
Sunday's event is going to be held at All Occasions Banquet Hall. It's located at 6090 Macon Cove, right off I-40 in Sycamore View. It's going to start at 4:30. There's a $15 donation. And believe what I tell you, it is absolutely going to be a great event.
All right. And I thank you, Sandra Hill Wilson. She was listening so intently. She provided us with the information. I have it
Yes.
flashed across the bottom of the screen. So
Wow.
thank you. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you,
I know
Sandra.
she's yes, yes,
Wow.
yes. Well, thank you all so much for hanging out with us on this Friday. Enjoy the rest of this sunny weekend, and prayers and blessings to us all as we continue to rise as moral leaders in whatever
Yes.
industry we find ourselves in. Thank you all so much for the great work you're doing in Memphis.
Thank you.